Well, let's take a quick stock of how global markets have been doing on Thursday as well as how Asian markets have opened up on Friday. In the US, banking stocks gained strongly. Of course, the Federal Reserve coming out and saying that they will hike policy rates 3 times in 2022 and 3 more times maybe in 2023. And that'll mean good news for bank stocks, which rose strongly. But tech stocks were the ones who were the laggards on the index, with the Nasdaq falling almost 2.5% in trade on Thursday. In fact, the Nasdaq was down 1% each on both Monday as well as Tuesday, over 1% each. I stand corrected, even though it gained on Wednesday. Of course, the banking stocks though helped the Dow stay up. The Dow was absolutely flat in trade, in fact up 8 basis points, and predominantly through the day it was in the green. The S&P 500 though was down almost 0.9% in trade. Another economic indicator with regard to jobs came out in the US, with weekly jobless claims coming in slightly worse than expected. Moving on to how Europe was looking. The European Central Bank has also announced that it will be tapering its bond buying program, and further the UK, which is the Bank of England, announced a 15 basis point increase in policy rates. That though has not stopped markets from moving higher. The DAX was up over 1%, the FTSE was up 1.25%, the CAC also up over 1%, and the stock 600 up 1.23% or thereabouts. So broadly, all indices gained strongly over 1% in Europe. Moving on to Asia, overnight losses on Wall Street saw Asian markets open absolutely mixed. And that's the trend and that's the trajectory that we're looking at even later as markets open up and closer to the opening in India. Asian markets though, the Nikkei is down almost 1% in early trade today. The Shanghai down over 0.5%. The Hang Seng over 0.5% again. But the ASX 200 and the Kospi are both in the green, with the ASX 200 up 0.2% in early trade today. Moving on to how the SGX Nifty is looking. The SGX Nifty is down. It's below the 17,300 mark, down almost 0.25%. That doesn't sound like the best of news for Indian markets either. When we look at commodities, oil went up above the $72 a barrel mark. In fact, above the $72.3 a barrel mark. Before tapering off, it's back down below the $72 mark in early trade today. Gold has benefited from the dollar easing, so that the US dollar has eased off, and gold is just below that $1,800 an ounce mark. The dollar index, as I mentioned, has corrected. It's at 96 now, which will of course ease pressure on the rupee as well. However, FII outflows will continue to put pressure on the rupee against the dollar. Treasury yields also fell. In consequence, treasury yields are currently at 1.42%. And looking quickly at how crypto is looking, Bitcoin has been volatile of late. It's again slipped 2% down in early trade today, is just below that $48,000 mark. That's a roundup of how markets are looking in early trade today.